Hi, I'm Kirby Allison, founder of the Hanger Project, and the purpose of this video is to show you how to create a high gloss mirror shine in 3 basic steps using the new Saphir MDO Mirror Gloss polish. A proper mirror shine is arguably one of the most difficult to achieve. The reason is that it requires the buildup of a wax layer on the hard surfaces of the shoe that reflects light. In order to do this, you have to successfully apply coat after coat after coat of wax polish until you build the wax finish above the pores and it's able to glass out, to glassage, so that it reflects light. The products that I'm going to use here is a horsehair brush to help brush the leather, the Saphir MDO Pomander Cream Polish for cleaning, the Saphir MDO Mirror Gloss Wax, and then finally the Pâté de Luxe MDO Standard Wax Polish. I've also got something to apply water, which you need with the Mirror Gloss Wax because it's very dry. So I've got both our high shine water dispenser and just a simple spritz bottle. And then another product that is actually really essential for this process that we created specifically for the mirror shine is our high shine chamois. Now the high shine chamois is very important because what it is basically high quality cotton shirting. We use a 180 by 2 ply shirting for this, and what it does is it creates a very tight weave that allows you to very efficiently control the amount of wax polish that you're applying to the shoes. This is very important. If you're trying to produce a mirror gloss using cotton balls or a standard cotton chamois, it's much more difficult than using this mirror gloss high shine chamois. So today I'm going to be shining a new pair of bespoke Cleverly cap toe shoes. These are bespoke shoes I had made from GJ Cleverly in London. Now the amount of preparation that you need before you start with the mirror gloss shine is really going to depend on the condition of your shoes. These are relatively new shoes. I've worn them several times, so there is a little bit of preparation that is needed. But really, I'm just going to use a cream polish in order to prepare them. Now, if you've been using, like a shoe polish that contains like silicones or resins, like a cheaper store-bought polish, then you might want to clean the shoes first with like a Reno mat in order to really open up the leather. But if you've got a really high-quality pair of shoes that you've been taking care of with the Saphir MDO, you really don't need to do much prep. The second thing to know about the mirror finish is that you only want to do a mirror finish on the hard-countered areas of the shoe. Traditionally, that's the toe box and the hindquarters. The reason is that you're building up essentially a solid wax finish. So if you do that anywhere the shoe leather is going to bend, the moment that you walk, that wax is going to crack. So if you see white buildup across the vamp of the shoe, normally it's because you applied too much hard wax to that area. So first I'm just going to brush these shoes. Just a very light brush in order to remove any type of large surface dirt. So the purpose of using the Saphir MDO Pomander Cream Polish is just to clean the leather and prepare it to receive the mirror gloss wax. Because of the high concentration of solvents in the cream polish, it's able to clean the leather and prepare it. So here I'm using the high shine chamois, and I like to pull the chamois over my index and middle finger, and then here I'm just applying a little bit of cream polish. So just applying it here in small circular motions. I'm going to take a little bit more. But remember, with shoe polish, less is more. So here I'm just applying it, and then instead of buffing it off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to employ the technique that you see used throughout the entire shoe shine process, which is that in order to really elevate the shine, you buff, you don't brush. So you're going to use a high shine chamois with a little bit of water and circular motions, and that's how you take the fogged wax finish and elevate the shine. So here I'm going to let the wax or the cream polish dry a little bit, and you can see how it's fogging, completely normal. And then I'm going to take my water dispenser, which we saw on the Hanger Project, and I'm just going to wet my chamois a little bit. Right, so after this is dried, I'm going to buff this cream polish off. And that's all the preparation I'm going to do to the leather. So here I'm just using circular motions with light pressure. You know, you don't want to press too hard into the leather, it's just light pressure. And as you buff the leather, you're going to see that this cream polish begins to shine. Now once you start feeling the chamois beginning to drag across the surface of the leather, you need to apply a little bit more water. You're going to do this until the fogging disappears. Now you can see that because this shoe has already been shined a few times, that it's already got a pretty nice high gloss shine. But once we start applying the mirror gloss, you're going to see this shine elevate even more. I'm going to do it in the same process I did in cleaning the shoes. I'm going to use a clean section of the chamois. I'm going to wrap it around my 2 fingers. And again, because the mirror gloss has such a high concentration of hard waxes and such a low solvent ratio, you really want to be using as much water as possible in order to lubricate the chamois and to allow it to glide across the shoe. So I'm going to do, 3 sprays. Take some wax polish. Now you can see, I'm rubbing it a lot in here, but because it's such a hard wax, I'm still just picking up just a tiny amount of wax polish. So using circular motions and a very light touch, I'm going to start applying the mirror gloss wax to the shoe. Now again, you just want to be very careful to apply the mirror gloss to the hard countered areas of the shoe. On a cap toe, it's very easy to see, where the hard countered area ends and the soft vamp begins because of the cap. But on like a pair of hole cuts, you really need to pay attention to where the shoe to bend. Sometimes you can see that by the creasing, but sometimes you just need to know that, based off where they bend when you're wearing them. I'm going to spray a little bit more water. While this is drying, I'm going to apply the same mirror gloss polish to the rear of the shoe. And again, I'm just applying it to that hindquarters. Once you feel the chamois begin to drag, again, apply a little bit more water and start going again. So here I've applied my first layer of the mirror gloss wax polish. Now, using this product, you can normally produce a pretty high mirror gloss within 3 to 5 different coats. So after you allow the mirror gloss to dry, it dries pretty quickly because again, it's such a hard wax. Spray a little bit more water on your chamois. You can see I've just got a few little water drops there. And then using a very light touch, begin to buff that wax. I'm using circular motions. You can take just a little bit of wax polish to help further lubricate your chamois also. And then using circular motions, I'm going to try to buff as much of that clouding out of the wax polish. Now during this process of building the wax foundation, don't concentrate too much on the quality of the shine because that's really going to come in the last step where we use the Pâté de Luxe to melt that wax and really glaçage it. So here I've applied some more, and then I'm just going to repeat this 3 or 5 times, using more of the mirror gloss wax polish, applying it in circular motions, massaging it into the leather, and then allowing it to dry before buffing it off. I like to buff on the fingers whenever I'm applying the wax polish, and then whenever I'm buffing the polish off, what I'll do is I'll roll my fingers so that I'm buffing on a clean area of the chamois that doesn't have any wax buildup. And I find that's really effective at buffing the wax off. So between layers of wax polish while I'm doing this process, you really don't need to allow much time, just a few, 30 seconds. I mean, because again this wax is already so dry to begin with, the Medallion or Mirror Gloss dries pretty quickly. Once you've created that mirror gloss, it's actually kind of a pretty fragile shine. So this is about the third or fourth wax finish or layer of wax that I've applied to the cap of my shoe, and I think I'm getting near the point where I can finish it off using the Pâté Deluxe. Now again, the question of how many layers to apply is really so dependent upon the shoe that you're starting with. So if you're shining a pair of shoes for the first time and it really doesn't have much wax finish, then you're going to have to apply more layers of the mirror gloss in order to build up that foundation. But if you're just glossaging over a pair of shoes that you've had for a while and that are already in pretty good condition, you should be able to get away with 3 to 5 layers of the mirror gloss before coming on top of the Pâté Deluxe. A lot of that also depends on how much of a mirror gloss you want. Like with anything, there's different levels, and so you could literally spend all afternoon doing a mirror gloss. There's no question about that. Okay, so here I am. You can see that there's still a little bit of fogging on the toe box here, right? It's not a mirror shine, but that's okay, because what we're going to do is we're going to really finish the mirror shine off with Pâté Deluxe wax polish. The high solvent ratio is going to melt that wax to really glossage it over, but you can't do that unless you already have a really strong wax foundation. So the next step is then to take some traditional Medallion or Pâté Deluxe wax polish, and you can see it's a much softer wax polish. So since we're just doing this to the toe box, and the hindquarters, you want to apply just a tiny amount of wax polish. So I'm going to just, with a really light touch, apply a little bit of wax polish, and then using no water, I'm going to repeat that same process where I apply the wax polish, and then without letting it dry, I'm going to begin buffing it off. If you feel that your chamois is really starting to drag, you could probably do just one small spritz of water. But I think I still have enough residual water in my chamois that I'm not going to need to. With a really light touch, I'm just buffing the clouding out of that wax polish. And you can really see that mirror shine start to come out. Especially during this last stage, you want to use just a really fine light touch. I mean, as light as possible in order to get that polish to come off. I'm doing just another small layer. And again, I'm really not giving this enough time to dry. I'm going to spritz my chamois and then continue to buff that off. Now what's happening here is that you've built up a foundation of hard waxes using the highly concentrated mirror gloss polish, and then you're using the solvents, the higher concentration of solvents that you have in the Pâté Deluxe, to melt that polish down and to buff it to a high shine. Now it's difficult to do this using the Pâté Deluxe alone because it's such a soft, relatively soft wax that you have a much more difficult time building up that initial foundation of wax. But with the mirror gloss, it's really easy to do. I'm going to use just one more water, no more polish. Again, a very light touch. And I'm just going to very lightly buff this polish. And there you have it. In as little as 20 minutes, of course depending on the condition of your shoes and how comfortable you are, you can produce a really nice high gloss mirror shine. Now if you desire even more gloss, even more glissage, even more mirror, just continue this process by applying the mirror gloss wax polish to build that foundation, and then buffing it down or polishing it down using a little bit of the softer Pate Deluxe wax polish in your high shine chamois.